my dear learners, for this course on turbo machines. In this module 2, we were discussing about energy transfer in turbo machines and general analysis of turbo machines. So far, we have discussed some important concepts for general analysis of turbo machines. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss a most important concept, that is how to draw velocity triangles and prerequisites to conduct analysis on power developing turbo machines, that is for turbines. Let us quickly move and discuss how to draw velocity triangles for a given conditions based on the general velocity triangle of turbines. That is, in our lecture 2 itself, I clearly explained how to draw general velocity triangle for power developing turbo machines, that is for turbines. Let us recall it, and based on general velocity triangle, we can alter the velocity triangle for given conditions. If we draw the general velocity triangle, it will look like we have Vf1, Vr1, V1 coming for the base. Always we will take absolute velocity as a reference. Absolute to relative is tangential blade speed, that is u1, and absolute to flow velocity is vu1. Angle made by absolute velocity is alpha 1 and angle made by relative velocity is beta 1. So similarly, if I draw the velocity triangle at exit of the rotor blade, we will have flow velocity due to energy transfer. The absolute velocity will have less magnitude compared to relative component at exit. So join the base. Now we have V2, VR2 and VF2. Angle made by absolute velocity is alpha 2, angle made by relative velocity is blade angle beta 2. Always absolute velocity is the reference. Absolute to flow velocity is tangential component of absolute velocity, that is Vu2, and absolute to relative is tangential blade speed, that is u2. So always the base is marked towards the hypotenuse. So therefore mark the base towards the hypotenuse. Here we have Vu2 present in the direction opposite to Vu1. A careful observation. Now here to mark U2, a very important thing is that the blade can rotate only in one direction, either in clockwise or in counterclockwise. So therefore U2 should be always in the direction of U1. Better to avoid the confusion, don't mark direction of U2. If you want to mark the direction of U2, U2 should be always in the direction of U1. Keep that in mind. So this is the general velocity triangle we have. Let me recall the various terms that we have indicated here for your reference. That is, we have V1 and V2 are the absolute velocity of the working fluid, absolute velocities of the working fluid at inlet and exit, and then we have VR1 and VR2 are the relative velocities of the working fluid at inlet and exit, and then we have VF1 and VF2 are the flow component of absolute velocity of the working fluid at inlet and exit, and then we have VU1 and VU2 are the tangential component of absolute velocity of the working fluid at inlet and exit, and later we have U1 and U2 are the rotor or blade speed or tangential velocity of rotor or tangential velocity of rotor. Kindly make a very important note. Only the working fluid has many components and absolute velocity, whereas whenever you see the word blade or rotor, it has only one velocity, no components, that is u denoted by u1 and u2, which is calculated by using the formula pi d n by 60, where d in meters diameter and n is speed of the rotor in rpm. After this, we have beta 1 and beta 2, alpha 1 and alpha 2. So alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the nozzle angles at inlet and exit. Beta 1 and beta 2 are the blade angles at inlet and exit, measured from tangential direction. Very, very important. Measured from tangential direction. Exit measured from tangential direction. The very important point here is you should measure it from tangential direction. So you should always measure from tangential, you should not measure from flow direction. If you measure from flow direction, we will indicate the blade angles as gamma. So that I will discuss when we heading to discuss the power absorbing turbo machines, that is for pumps and compressors. Now concentrate only on turbines. So these are the various terms that we have used in the general velocity triangle, which are clearly discussed in our lecture 2 of this module, wherein which we have derived alternate form of Euler's turbine equation. So now this is the basic. So if you know general velocity triangle properly, now based on the conditions we can alter. And one more important concept is that this flow component of absolute velocity what we have is nothing but the axial component for axial flow machines, radial component for radial flow machines. If I analyze axial flow turbines, then Vf is nothing but Va, and we take meridional component or radial component as 0. If I analyze radial flow turbo machines or turbines, radial flow turbines, then this Vf is equal to Vm and Va will become 0. So that is for axial flow turbines. For axial flow turbines, this flow velocity is nothing but axial component of absolute velocity and the radial component which is denoted by Vm is equal to 0. Vm stands for meridional component of absolute velocity. Meridional component is nothing but radial component. Why we are using Vm? Because we don't have Vr. Vr is already given for relative velocity. So therefore we are using Vm for radial component. So similarly for radial flow turbines, Vf is equal to Vm and axial component, that is Va, will be treated as 0, which we have already discussed in our lecture 2. So with this prior knowledge on velocity triangle for turbines, let me explain how to construct the velocity triangle for the given condition by knowing the general velocity triangle. That is, moving for case 1. Case 1 is if fluid enters axially or radially. So the entry velocity of the fluid is V1, that is equal to axial or radial component. The axial or radial component of velocity is Vf. At entry it is Vf1. So if V1 become Vf1, so pull V1 and make it equal to Vf1. If V1 is equal to Vf1, U1 will become 0 and alpha 1 will become 90 degrees. So therefore the inlet velocity triangle will become for this case as we have flow velocity Vf1 and this is equal to V1. So fluid entry is axial or radial. The axial or radial component is Vf. So now coming for the base, we are left only with U, and since Vf1 is equal to V1, we are left only with relative component, that is Vr1. So base represents U1. Here alpha 1 is equal to 90 degree and Vu1 is equal to 0. Coming for the angle made by relative component is beta 1. So this is the velocity triangle for condition when fluid enters axially or radially. The outlet velocity triangle will remain same because no condition is imposed. So moving for case 2. For case 2, if fluid discharges axially or radially, the discharge velocity of the working fluid is V2 should be equal to axial or radial component at exit, that is Vf2. So therefore, if I make V2 is equal to Vf2, the velocity triangle will become, so we have flow velocity Vf2 is equal to V2. I left out only with Vr2. Angle made by Vr2 is beta 2. So from absolute to relative is U2. So here Vu2 will become 0. The tangential component at exit will become 0 and alpha 2 will become 90 degrees. So this is the velocity triangle at exit if the condition is fluid discharges axially or radially, whereas the inlet velocity triangle remains same for this condition because no condition has been imposed for inlet velocity triangle in case 2. If I move for case 3, so before moving for case 3, one careful observation is that the case 1 velocity triangle cannot be for a turbine. I think you got the point, because if alpha 1 is 90 degree, then there will not be any contact between the working fluid and the vanes or blades. So therefore there will not be any energy transfer. So therefore this velocity triangle can never be for a turbine. So what I mean to say is that if I have a nozzle angle at an angle of 90 degree, so water is coming from the nozzle, let us say we have V1, so here we have vanes or blades. So blade speed is U, because as I said, since this vanes are of a weight of tons together, this cannot be started or initiated with the help of moving fluid. So therefore initially we connect this to a prime mover. So once we gain the momentum, we switch off the prime mover and run the machine with the help of the working fluid. So therefore this already have a velocity U. So now if you see, the working fluid is not at all in contact with the vanes. Here the alpha 1 is equal to 90 degree. There is no contact between the working fluid and the rotor. So therefore there is no energy transfer. Hence this cannot be a velocity triangle for turbines. Make a note of it. Next, moving for case 3. Blades are radial at entry. If blades are radial at entry, which means that the velocity which flows over the blade, which component of velocity flows over the blade? That is, the relative velocity flows over the blade. So the angle made by the relative velocity is blade angle. So therefore this relative velocity should be equal to radial or axial component. When blades are radial at entry, that is, the relative velocity Vr1 must be equal to the radial component, that is Vf1, which in turn says that beta 1 is equal to 90 degrees. So for this case, if I draw the velocity triangle at inlet, we have flow velocity Vf1 this is equal to the relative velocity Vr1, and I have left out with absolute velocity V1. So join the base. Angle made by absolute velocity is alpha 1, we already know that, So here we have beta 1 is equal to 90 degrees. Now for marking the base, as I said, always one should take absolute velocity as a reference. Take an absolute velocity as a reference. Now absolute to flow is tangential component, that is VU1, and absolute to relative is blade speed, that is U1. So therefore for this case VU1 will become equal to U1. So this is the velocity triangle for case 3. Now moving for case 4, if blades are radial at exit, then the blade angle at exit, that is beta 2, should be equal to 90 degrees, which means that VR2 should be equal to VF2. So therefore the exit velocity triangle will look like, we have flow velocity VF2 is equal to VR2. I have left out with only absolute velocity V2. So join the base. So now we have absolute is the reference, absolute to flow is VU2, absolute to relative is U2. Angle made by absolute velocity at exit is alpha 2. So here we got the condition beta 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So this is the velocity triangle for case 4, where blades are radial at exit. And one more important point that you people should note down is that here I am speaking about inlet and exit, inlet and exit, inlet and exit. Here the word inlet and exit are with reference to blade, very important, with reference to vanes or with reference to rotor. Whatever word we are stating here, entry and exit, inlet and exit, that is for inlet for a blade and exit for a blade, or inlet for a vanes or exit for a vanes, or inlet for a rotor and exit for a rotor. We are not at all speaking with reference to stator. Keep that in mind. That is very important. There is a trick in it. I will explain soon. So these are the 4 cases. Let us move for case number 5. Before moving to case 5, I said there is a trick, that is whatever inlet and exit we are speaking is with respect to vanes or blades. That is, if the question is given as the exit angles of both stator and rotor are 45 degrees. If he gives like this in the question, what he means to say is that the exit angles of both stator and rotor are 45 degrees. What usually you people will think is as exit angles is given, so therefore exit angle for stator is alpha 2, exit angle for rotor is beta 2. You will take it as alpha 2 is equal to beta 2, which is equal to 45 degrees, which is wrong. Because see, we have a stator, correct, nozzle, so from which we have absolute velocity coming out. Here we will be having a vanes or a blade on which we will get the relative velocity VR. Here we have V1. So this will gives us the angle as alpha 1. This concept is clearly explained in our lecture 2 itself. Here we have VR1. If I draw a vertical line, I will get flow velocity. So since already this is moving, so we have velocity as U1. So if I draw a vertical line, I will get flow component. So let me, don't represent flow component here by drawing a vertical, to avoid confusion. So later we have relative velocity moving and coming out, and we have absolute velocity at exit. We have relative velocity VR2 and absolute velocity V2. So angle made by this is beta 2, correct? So now this is stator and this is rotor, and this exit velocity v2 will be fed into stage 2, wherein which we have stator for stage 2, which flows over the rotor of stage 2. Like this we might have a number of stages. Now for the first stator, if I take single stage, for the first stator this is inlet and this is exit. For this rotor, if I state this is inlet, this is exit. For this stator 2, if I state this is inlet and this is exit. Now tell me exit angle of stator. So this is stator. What is the exit angle? Alpha 1, correct? Now this is the rotor. Exit rotor angle. So what is the exit of this rotor? This is the exit of this rotor. Exit rotor angle is what? Beta 2. What he has given is alpha 1 and beta 2. Alpha 1 is equal to 45 and beta 2 is equal to 45. One should be very careful. Whatever we speak, inlet and exit is with reference to rotor. When he says the exit of stator, then it is an inlet for rotor. So therefore, you should take alpha 1, not alpha 2. Be careful. So this is what I wanted to explain clearly. Hope you people got the point. Let us move for case 5. Now coming for case 5, if blades are radial at entry and fluid discharges axially or radially. So if you clearly observe case 5, he has given conditions for both inlet as well as for exit. At inlet he says that blades are radial, so therefore VR1 must be equal to VF1, which means that beta 1 should be equal to 90 degrees, which we have discussed in case 3. And in addition he says that fluid discharges axially or radially, that is V2 should be equal to flow component, that is VF2, which in turn states that alpha 2 should become 90 degrees. So for this case you should alter both inlet as well as exit velocity triangle. So respectively, if I alter, I will get the inlet velocity triangle as VF flow component VF1, which is equal to VR1, and I have left out only with V1. So from V1 to VF and V1 to VR, so therefore we have VU1 is equal to U1. The angle made by absolute velocity is alpha 1. Here the blade angle beta 1 is equal to 90 degrees. And also at exit we have fluid is discharging axially or radially, so therefore VF2 is equal to V2. I left out with VR2. So joining the base, the angle made by relative velocity is beta 2 at exit. So here alpha 2 is 90 degrees. So therefore VU2 should be equal to 0. So if I mark the base here, absolute to relative is U2. There is no distance between V2 and VF2, therefore VU2 should become 0. So since we have only U2, we can indicate the direction same in the direction of U1, because the blade can rotate either in clockwise or in counterclockwise. So this is the velocity triangle for case 5. So if moving for case 6, if fluid enters axially or radially and blades are radial at exit, if it gives like this, then fluid enters axially or radially, entry velocity of the fluid is V1, which is equal to Vf1, which in turn says that alpha 1 should be equal to 90 degrees and blades are radial. So blade angle is beta 2, which is radial 90 degrees, or VR2 should be equal to Vf2 at exit. Here entry and exit are with reference to vanes or blades. So therefore, if I draw the velocity triangle, I will get the velocity triangle as, we have Vf1, which is equal to V1, we have left out with VR1, we will get beta 1, left out with only U1, because there is no distance between V1 and Vf1 horizontally. So here we have alpha 1 as 90 degrees and Vu1 is equal to 0. Similarly, if I draw the exit velocity triangle for this case, we have Vf2 is equal to VR2, I left out with V2. Joining the base, angle made by V2 is alpha 2. So hence for this case, I will get Vu2 is equal to U2. Here beta 2 will be equal to 90 degrees. So this is the velocity triangle for case 6. Now let us move for case 7. Moving for case 7, that is for axial flow turbines. For axial flow turbines, that is for steam turbines, you will get the condition as U1 is equal to U2, which is equal to U. So for axial flow turbines, it is better to remember always the combined velocity triangle, which is very important to solve problems in graphical method when we discuss the unit on steam turbines. So therefore, if you observe, we have U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U. So therefore, I can draw both with a common base U. So therefore, first I will draw U. What I will do now is that I will draw a mirror image such that this will coincide with U. So if I draw the mirror image, I will get V1 from here and I will get VR1. So if I draw a vertical line, I will get VF. So VF should always perpendicular, very important. The flow component should be always perpendicular. It is always vertical. So we have V1, VR1 and VF1. Now from absolute to flow, it gives us VU1. Now on this common base U, I should place this, so therefore I should draw the mirror image of this and place it over here. So if I do that, I will get VR2, V2 and VF2. So I will get VR2, V2 and VF2. So from V2 to VF2 it gives us VU. Angle made by V2 is alpha 2, angle made by VR2 is beta 2. Angle made by V1 is alpha 1, angle made by VR1 is beta 1. So this is the combined velocity triangle for axial flow turbines with a common base. You note it down and try to remember always, because this is very important to solve problems on steam turbines graphically. Now moving for case number 8, that is for maximum utilization. For maximum utilization, we know the condition that the first condition is that utilization will be maximum if flow is minimum, and also the flow velocity should be constant. So therefore Vf1 is equal to Vf2 is equal to Vf, and we should have the least velocity of V2. So V2 will be minimum only when it is equal to Vf. In any other positions, its magnitude is greater. So if I impose these two conditions, I will get the inlet velocity triangle is unaltered. So I will draw the inlet velocity triangle which is unaltered. Draw the base. We have V1, VR1 and Vf. So from V1 to VR1 is U1, and from V1 to flow is tangential component VU1. Angle made by V1 is alpha 1, angle made by VR1 is beta 1. Now we have Vf which is equal to V2. When Vf is equal to V2, gives us two more conditions, that is alpha 2 should become 90 degree and Vu2 should become 0. So therefore, if I draw the exit velocity triangle, I will get the exit velocity triangle as we have V2 which is equal to Vf. I left out only with VR2. So if I join the base, angle made by VR2 is beta 2. Here alpha 2 is equal to 90 degrees and Vu2 is equal to 0. So if I draw the base, I left out only with U2. So this is the inlet and exit velocity triangle for maximum utilization. If maximum utilization with 50%, a special case in case 8 for maximum utilization, degree of reaction is equal to 0.5, a very important point and very important velocity triangle required to solve problems. For maximum utilization, you know the conditions, and for R is equal to 0.5, the conditions are V1 should be equal to VR2 and V2 should be equal to VR1. So similarly, angles alpha 1 should be equal to beta 2 and alpha 2 should be equal to beta 1. This is the condition for R is equal to 50%, 0.5, which I explained in our previous lecture, in which we have drawn velocity triangles for axial flow turbines for various values of R. This should be satisfied for symmetrical triangles for R is equal to 0.5. Now for maximum utilization, you know the conditions, and for R is equal to 0.5 also you know the conditions. Club these conditions. We have totally 4 conditions with us. Club these conditions and we will get the final condition for maximum utilization with R is equal to 0.5. So the final condition for us will be, it will turn out to be, we know that V2 is equal to Vf for maximum utilization, and this must be equal to VR1 for 50%. So alpha 2 is 90 degrees, hence beta 2 should be equal to beta 1 should be equal to 90 degrees. So this is the condition for maximum utilization with R is equal to 0.5 when I club the conditions for maximum utilization and condition for 0.5. Accordingly, if I write the velocity triangle, I will get VR1 should be equal to Vf at inlet. So at inlet I left out only with V1, alpha 1 I have, so now I will get Vu1 is equal to U1. Now at exit we have V2. I left out only with VR1. Join the base. Angle made by VR1 in VR2. Exit. Angle made by VR2 is beta 2. Beta 2 should be equal to alpha 1. And here the base will be Q2 only. So if you observe, we have beta 1 is equal to alpha 2, which is equal to 90 degrees. So this is the velocity triangle for maximum utilization with R is equal to 50% or 0.5, which is very important to solve problems. So with these 8 cases, we can solve almost all varieties of problems on analysis of turbines. Now let us discuss the important prerequisites, that is formulas what we should use while solving the problems. Now let us discuss the important formulas which are required to perform analysis of turbines. Coming for formulas, energy transfer or work done per kg. That is, work done per kg is given by VU1 U1 minus VU2 U2 by GC is the general expression which we have obtained from Euler's equation for energy transfer. So this is used for turbo machines. You get the positive answer, then it is turbine. You will get negative answer, then it is power absorber, pump or compressor. When in the question it is not mentioned whether you are solving a problem on turbine or pump or compressor, when the problem is based on a turbo machine and asks you to determine whether it is a power developer or power absorber, then use this formula, substitute all the values and solve. If you get the positive answer, then it is for turbine. If you get negative answer, then it is pump or compressor. Next, moving for second one, that is energy transfer or work done per kg will be equal to VU1 U1 plus VU2 U2 by GC joules per kg for turbines. So which is very important. So this is what we will be using. This is because of the reason, if you observe, VU1 is moving from right to left, whereas VU2 is moving from left to right. Since both are in opposite direction, it will become plus. I should take the vector difference. So if both are moving in the same direction, that will become a difference. So since it is VU2 is moving in opposite direction, minus of minus will become plus. So for turbines, you should use this formula. Next, moving for third one, that is power developed. Formula for power developed is mass flow rate into work done per kg. Mass flow rate into work done per kg. Next, moving for the fourth one, that is degree of reaction. The general expression for degree of reaction is known to us. Degree of reaction R is denoted as static component of energy transfer by static plus dynamic component of energy transfer, which we have obtained from alternate form of Euler's equation for energy transfer. The static component of energy transfer is given by U1 square minus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square divided by static plus dynamic. Static again is U1 square plus U2 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square plus dynamic component of energy transfer is V1 square minus V2 square. Now I can also write this as R is equal to static component of energy transfer plus dynamic component of energy transfer minus dynamic component divided by static plus dynamic. No change. This static plus dynamic component of energy transfer is nothing but work done per kg or energy transfer. So therefore I can write degree of reaction R as 1 minus dynamic component of energy transfer by work done per kg, which is nothing but 1 minus dynamic component is V1 square minus V2 square by 2gc into work done per kg. In the case of work done per kg, either I can substitute equation, that is Euler's equation for energy transfer, or I can substitute alternate form of Euler's equation for energy transfer. Whereas the alternate form of Euler's equation for energy transfer is static plus dynamic component, whole divided by 2gc. Now, in case 5, for impulse turbines, example, very good example for impulse turbine is De-Laval steam turbine. De-Laval turbine, degree of reaction is 0. This is because of the reason the change in pressure is observed only in the stator, whereas the pressure remains constant in the rotor when fluid flows. So therefore, only dynamic component of energy transfer is observed for impulse turbine, whereas static component of energy transfer is 0. So if I substitute static component as 0, 0 by 0 plus dynamic component, 0 by anything is 0, therefore degree of reaction is 0 for impulse turbine, which I will clearly explain in our next module when I take up analysis of steam turbines. Next, moving for case 6, that is for reaction turbines, that is for R is equal to 0.5. R is equal to 0.5. A good example is Parsons steam turbine. Parsons steam turbine is a very good example for R is equal to 50%. We should use the condition V1 is equal to VR2, V2 is equal to VR1, which in turn gives us alpha 1 is equal to beta 2 and alpha 2 is equal to beta 1. Next, moving for seventh important point to be noted down for axial flow turbines. For axial flow turbines, you should know that U1 is equal to U2 is equal to U. The rotor speed is constant for axial flow turbines. And coming for 8th important point, alternate equation for energy transfer, they told, but let me write for your reference, that is work done per kg is also equal to V1 square minus V2 square by 2gc plus U1 square minus V2 square by 2gc plus VR2 square minus VR1 square by 2gc. The first component is dynamic component of energy transfer, and these two are static component of energy transfer. Using that only we define degree of reaction. Next, moving for 9th one. Coming for 9th one, that is blade friction factor, that is divided by K, which is defined as the ratio of relative velocity at exit to relative velocity at inlet. And 10th one is speed ratio, which is divided by phi. So speed ratio is defined as U by V1. Generally we define speed ratio for axial flow machines. Next, moving for 11th one, that is utilization factor. Utilization factor epsilon is given by the formula work done per kg divided by work done per kg plus losses, that is energy transfer by energy transfer plus losses is epsilon is equal to, the general formula will be using alternate form of Euler's energy equation. We have V1 square minus V2 square plus u1 square minus u2 square plus r2 square minus vr1 square divided by v1 square, loss is v2 square by 2gc, so therefore we get cancelled, plus u1 square minus u2 square plus vr2 square minus vr1 square. So this is the formula for utilization factor. Here the very important thing is that losses is nothing but v2 square by 2gc. Make a note of it. Next, coming for 12th one, that is for maximum utilization. For maximum utilization, we already know that flow should remain constant. Vf1 is equal to Vf2 is equal to Vf, and V2 should be minimum. V2 will be minimum only if V2 is equal to Vf. And also, we have two different cases, that is for impulse. For impulse case, epsilon max is equal to cos square alpha 1, and it should also satisfy the speed relation should be equal to cos alpha 1 by 2. This should be known to you. I will derive this in our next module when I address analysis of impulse turbines, analysis of steam turbines in our next module, where in which I will derive the maximum blade efficiency of impulse turbine. There the condition will be speed ratio is equal to cos alpha 1 by 2, whereas for reaction turbines, that is for 50%, for R is equal to 0.5, we know that epsilon max is equal to 2 cos square alpha 1 divided by 1 plus cos square alpha 1, which I already derived in our lecture 4 I think, and speed ratio for this case should be cos alpha 1, whereas speed ratio is given by u by d1. Next, moving ahead for case number 13, that is relationship between degree of reaction and utilization factor. We know that utilization factor is equal to v1 square minus v2 square divided by v1 square minus r v2 square. Moving for case number 14, decrease in temperature, because turbine will observe expansion. So decrease in temperature is given by, we know that change in enthalpy, that is delta H, is equal to Cp delta T. So therefore delta T is equal to delta H by Cp, specific heat, where Cp is specific heat and delta H is change in enthalpy. Next, moving for 15th formula, that is change in enthalpy. Delta H is nothing but work done per kg. For turbines, it is Vu1 U1 plus Vu2 U2 by Gc. Now moving for formula number 16, that is pressure drop. Pressure drop delta P can be calculated by using the formula. We already know that change in enthalpy is equal to change in pressure by density. So therefore change in pressure is equal to change in enthalpy into density of the working fluid. Next, if I move for 17th formula, we have axial thrust denoted by FA. Axial thrust is given by FA is equal to mass flow rate into difference in flow velocity, Vf1 minus Vf2. Moving for 18th one, that is tangential thrust, which is denoted by Ft. Tangential thrust is given by Ft is equal to mass flow rate into Vu1 plus Vu2. Vu1 plus Vu2. Let me pause this for a while so that you people can copy it down. Later we move further. The list is not over. Next, moving for 19th one, that is cosine rule. Apply cosine rule for inlet velocity triangle itself. If I apply cosine rule for inlet velocity triangle, I can demonstrate by taking V1 and VR1 as we have V1, we have VR1, angle is alpha 1 and base is U1. So therefore from cosine rule I can write that VR1 square is equal to V1 square plus U1 square minus 2 U1 V1 cos alpha 1. Make a note of it, which might be required to solve problems. Cos alpha 1. Now moving for 20th one, that is blade or diagram efficiency. The general expression for blade efficiency is work done by energy supplied, work done per kg divided by energy supplied, not energy transferred. Energy supplied per kg. So therefore, if I write it for impulse turbine, energy supplied is just in the stator, that is V1 square by 2gc. So therefore, the efficiency will become 2 times du1 u1 plus du2 u2 by v1 square, cancelling of gc in both numerator and denominator. If I write it for reaction turbine, energy supplied will be in both stator as well as in rotor plus VR2 square minus VR1 square by 2gc. So therefore, blade efficiency for reaction turbine will be 2 times VU1 U1 plus VU2 U2 divided by V1 square plus VR2 square minus VR1 square. So depending on the turbine what you are analyzing, whether it is impulse or reaction, based on that you should use the expression for blade efficiency or diagram efficiency. And finally, an important note is that apart from this 20 formulas, you should know this important note: while solving problem, VU2 becomes negative while solving the problem, means VU2 is in same direction as VU1, that is tangential speed will become in the same direction as VU1. So therefore I should change the direction of VU2 to the direction of VU1. So therefore if you observe, pull this V2 to left side so that VU2 will become moving from right to left, which is same direction as VU1. So therefore change the velocity triangle as outlet velocity triangle as, so change the direction of VU2, in the sense I should change V2, so I will get like this, the outlet velocity triangle. for the case where you will get VU2 as negative. VF2, V2, and you have VR2. Here you have alpha 2. Here you have beta 2. From absolute to flow is VU2. So moving towards the hypotenuse, the base, you can see here VU2 and VU1 are in same direction, which means VU2 is negative for us while solving the problem based on general velocity triangle. So now from V2 to VR2, always V2 is the reference, right? So therefore V2 to VR2 will be U2. So U2 is greater than VU2 in this case, whereas in this case it might be greater or less. So with this 20 very important formulas, I have covered almost all possible cases that might be encountered while solving the problems on turbines. In our next lecture, I will take up some bookworks, that is proofs based on maximum utilization. Later, we will take up analysis of turbines. If by any means, if I have missed any important concepts, I will definitely cover it when I take up problems. That's all from this lecture. Thank you all.